All right, this is a super quick tutorial on how to graph in Google Sheets, just like we've been doing in class. In case you're confused, you can slow down and watch this video. So first things first, I'm just typing in my time and position data from the worksheet that I gave you. This comes from graphing worksheet number 2. So you want 2 columns and you want to label them with units because it'll make it so your graph is already labeled properly and appropriately. So after I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one of my data points, and then I'm going to drag my mouse over while I'm still clicked so I can highlight everything, and then I hit Insert Chart. And so what that does is it spits out a graph for me. So looking at the chart editor, we want to make sure that we have a scatter chart because that's all we're really working with in this class. Next, you're going to click on the Customize button, and you're going to go down to Series. So when you scroll down, you want to add a trend line. And what that's going to be able to do is it's going to give us the equation of our line. So first you want to make sure you have the right type of line, and ours is linear, and then you click on label and you use equation. So on top of my graph, you can see that my equation is 3x plus 0. That's important because we need to know slope. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this information to graph a speed versus time graph. So I'm copying and pasting my time data. And now I'm just going to write another header, and it's going to be speed, and this time speed is going to be meters per minute because that's what my position and time units are. So what we've learned in class, very important, is that the slope of a position time graph is equal to speed. So what I can do is I can make Google Sheets calculate the slope for me so that I don't have to. Of course, we already know what it is because we see the equation of our graph. But we need to use this data, so I'm going to type in equals slope, and then I'm going to highlight all of my y data. Then I'll put in a comma and I'll click and highlight all of my x data, and then I'll close parentheses, and that's going to spit out the slope that is also on the equation on top of my graph. Now what I want to do is I want to freeze my code, so I'm going to go up to the typing section and I'm going to put $signs in between every letter and number, so that way I can drag the data downwards and it's not going to change anything. So now I have 3's all the way down, which should make sense because I have a straight line for my position time graph, so that means I am not accelerating. I have a constant speed. Constant speed means it's not changing. So when I graph that, I get a flat line, just like so. So you're going to go again and make sure you have a scatter chart. You're going to hit Customize, you're going to hit Series, and then you're going to scroll down to make sure that it's graphing a linear line once you click your trend line. And then you're going to label your trend line with a use equation. And so that's going to put the equation on top of your graph, which should line up with what we just said, that we're not accelerating. And you'll see how in a second. So what's really important to understand is that the slope of a speed versus time graph represents acceleration. So the acceleration of our graph is 0. And the way that I know that is I have a horizontal flat line. In math class, you learn that horizontal flat lines do not have a slope. On the top of my equation, I can see that slope is equal to 0, and I can make Google Sheets calculate that for me, but I don't have to because I can just read it off my graph.